On this edition of inCycle, 3 times Olympic time trial gold medalist Kristin Armstrong on developing young talent in the USA with Sho-air 2020.
In order to be a successful time trialist, I think you have to be able to have a strong mind. So there's a lot of talk that happens in your mind. There's a lot of self-talk. There's a lot of talk that can become negative. And there's a lot of athletes that once the negativity comes, their day is over.
All the action from the Giro d'Italia as the race reaches its final week.
They went full gas in the beginning of the climb. The guys got really enthusiastic, the other riders, and that was perfect. And Tom came from behind and did it very smart.
But first, the Giro Tour double. Can Quintana do the unthinkable? The 100th Giro d'Italia is the first leg of Nairo Quintana's attempt at an unprecedented double in cycling's modern era. To win the Giro and Tour in the same season.
There's certainly a degree of arrogance that someone believes that they can win the Giro and the Tour. I mean, to win a Grand Tour is a massive feat in its own. To try and win both, it's an audacious plan, admirable because he's obviously got the self-belief, and I guess you've got to give thumbs up to his team because they believe he can do it.
Queremos que haya una variedad mayor dentro de las opciones de Nairo. Tampoco pretendemos que solo en su cabeza vea exclusivamente el Tour. Y entendemos que el camino del Giro puede ser pues también un poco esto último, ¿no? Que al margen de resultados, bueno, que nos permita llegar de otra forma también al Tour.
It was always very interesting with Nairo Quintana declaring very early that he wants to go for the double. So he obviously had planned and thought about if he could do it or not, and with that to put in place a training and racing program that will allow him to reach peaks here at the Giro and in July at the Tour de France. My feeling is that he will try to win this Giro with expending as little energy as possible. Now, Nairo Quintana is a human being, just like any other cyclist in the peloton. So that window of form we're looking at is between beginning of May to the end of July. That's 3 months. In any season, 3 months is a long time to maintain that form. Okay, he'll have June off to recover, but then it's only going to be a couple of weeks.
Eventually, I feel it's the guy with the strongest immune system wins, because how far can you push that body until eventually it gives way and you get ill? If I was going to put money on anyone having the immune system that would allow them to get through 2 tours at the very highest level, it would be Nairo. Nairo does 3 accelerations, and each time the guys behind go into the red to catch him. It's not because he can't ride away, it's because he doesn't want to ride away. He holds them there, 10 bike lengths ahead, and they ride across that gap, move into the red, and then he goes again. Now, what we've seen Dumoulin do, for instance on the stage to Europa, and on the blockhouse stage at this Giro, is allow Nairo to make that move and ride at his own pace.
Winning the Giro while saving enough energy for the Tour is much harder now with strong teams and controlled racing. There will be no opportunity to make time-saving attacks, which means the biggest threat to his chances will come in the final time trial in Milan.
Quintana may have to dip into his reserves that he would rather not have to dip into to try and win the Giro, and that could make the difference. Will that cost him his double campaign? It's certainly going to be a major threat.
He hides behind this face. His face is a mask, and he hides behind, and he knows who you are, he knows who you are, and he very quickly works out who he can trust and how it works, and he steps back but he knows what he wants. He knows that the riders around him, the Froomes, the Nibelis, the Tom Dumourin's, they want the same thing that he wants, and only one of them can win. So cycling's a very ruthless environment. From us from the outside, it's helicopter shots of beautiful landscapes and all the colour and glitter and shouts of joy as the peloton rides through town. Inside, it's war.
US cycling legend Kristin Armstrong time-trialled her way to 3 Olympic gold medals between 2008 and 2016. Now, with the help of Sho-air 2020 general manager Nicola Cramner, she's working to develop potential successors like Leah Thomas.
I used to do a lot of running, not competitively, and I was teaching, and running was kind of my sanctuary from teaching, and I got really bad plantar fasciitis and kept running, and so cycling was what my boyfriend was into, and I started riding, and he took me to a race, and I just really loved it, you know, and I was strong and I was good at it, and it was something that I just started to kind of work my way up, and it's just kind of where I ended up. And as I got better, it became much more serious and much more like, this is what I want to do. I want to see how far I can go and really push myself to see what I can accomplish. And we'll see if that's the Olympics. I hope so, you know, but that's a long ways away. So for now, it's breaking it down into smaller steps and just continuing to improve and develop as a rider.
Joined forces with Nicola in 2010, and I've continually supported the team in a number of ways. And I was at the point of wanting to retire, and I'm like, you know, I would love to mix juniors and people who want to become national and world champions and Olympic champions. And I want to merge them together because they would be great mentors for our juniors. And so Nicola and I kind of merged together. I directed in 2010, pregnant, and then came back to the sport. And when I came to the sport, I needed an environment that was really welcoming to my family, because not a lot of teams or any teams would like their rider's baby to be traveling with them, let alone their husband. And so our team was very open to that. And so that's how I continued my involvement. I'm really, you know, excited to play the role I'm playing, and I do it out of passion. I don't have a coaching business. I do it because I care, and when I see potential in somebody, I want to definitely help them out.
So the idea with the team is kind of to get riders who have potential and kind of get them in the scene and give them the set of skills and develop them to be able to be contenders for that next Olympics. So obviously the next Olympic cycle would be 2020, hence our name, Sho-air 2020. And the idea isn't that you stay with the team necessarily for 4 years, but that you get the results to be launched to a bigger team and accomplish those big goals. Kristin is just the epitome of awesome. Like, I got a race with her last year, and it was my first year as a professional athlete, so to have somebody who had that much experience on the team and just such a knowledge of, especially the discipline of time trialing, was really special. And now that she's retired, she still plays a really important role and is always there to give advice and to bounce off questions, whether it be pacing strategy or what equipment I should be using with my TT bike. So it's definitely a great resource to have.
I think that Leah, as much as she's improved in time trialing, and really she's on the right track, but she hasn't taken every step that she can at this point. She has a great coach. She's very analytical. She takes things very seriously. We've worked on her position. But have we really dived in? Has she been to the wind tunnel? No. Have we cleaned up everything we can on her bike to make it the fastest machine? Not yet. So there are things that we can do still for Leah, and Leah's already showing that she's one of our nation's, you know, best time trialists, and this is already, you know, 3.5 years before Tokyo. So I think that, you know, Leah is one of those athletes that, because of her age, she's bringing a different maturity level to the game. And I think the maturity level also comes with stability, which also comes with confidence, which I think that in the sport of time trialing is very important.
I think my time trialing skills have definitely gone to kind of the next level. I think a lot of that, like I'm really learning about pacing and like how to read a course and how to really like my style of riding, like how to really use that to my advantage in that event. And I think it's showing with my results so far this season, and so I hope that it continues to go that way.
In order to be a successful time trialist, I think you have to be able to have a strong mind. So there's a lot of talk that happens in your mind. There's a lot of self-talk. There's a lot of talk that can become negative. And there's a lot of athletes that once the negativity comes, their day's over. When I came back for Rio, everyone's like, you're over 40. Like, your aerobic capacity is declining. And I'm like, yeah. I said, well, it may be declining slightly, but as long as I have a strong mind, I can still win. I want people to put things in perspective and, you know, treat their bodies well. And yeah, you have to be 100% there in order to be your best. And if you can't be your best, then you might as well just take a day off.
As the 100th edition of the Giro d'Italia headed into the Apennines, the pink confetti had settled at the feet of the new wearer of the Maglia Rosa, Tom Dumoulin. A second year in pink in a row for the Dutchman, but this time the target was very different.
Last year I was with a time trial goal, and this year more with a GC goal. So that's different in mindset. The last week is going to be really hard. So. But so far so good.
As his team settled into the role of controlling the race, a breakaway of 25 in Stage 11's lumpy test to Bagna di Romana offered an immediate challenge. But in a Giro still without an Italian winner, tensions were starting to run high amongst some teams. Willier Sella Italia's Lucas Quinto left infuriated by his team missing the day's massive break. One man who didn't, though, was Omar Fraile.
Astana at the front, but here comes Fraile on the left-hand side in the black and white. Fraile, the man from the Basque Country. No Grand Tour stage wins in his career just yet, but this could be a first. He's looking really good. It's Omar Fraile all the way to the line. This is some ride. Omar Fraile for Dimension Data with his first ever win in a Grand Tour. His first Giro success, and that's a man who's been riding at the front of a breakaway all day long. One of the wins in recent Giro d'Italia history.
Venía con el objetivo de conseguir una etapa y mira, pues la tenemos ya, la disfrutamos impresionante. Fue una carrera realmente bonita porque al final encadenaba muchos puertos y la tenía marcada desde hace tiempo. Y mira, pues más no puedo pedir. Estoy súper contento, ahora estoy con la maglia azurra y la lucharemos hasta el último día. Para el equipo y para mí es súper importante. Al final vistes una maglia de una gran vuelta y sobre todo pues, si conseguimos llevarla hasta Milán y conseguirla en Milán, pues será súper importante para el equipo.
Dumoulin had survived his first day in pink and could now look forward to 2 days with the pressure off as the sprinters went to battle for the final time. With 2 stage wins in his pocket and the Ciclamino jersey on his shoulders, Fernando Gaviria's status as the Giro's star turn was already confirmed. As impressive on stage 12 was his lead-out from Max Richesi as he ripped up the sprint finish in the final 500 metres and launched the Colombian to demonstrate he wasn't finished quite yet. Stage 13's finish into Tortona would be the last opportunity for Gaviria and his fellow speedsters, with the likes of Andre Greipel expected to finish his Giro come the end of the day. One man who wouldn't even grace the start of the day, though, was Team Sky's Geraint Thomas, as the effects of the crash 5 days earlier finally caught up with him.
We sent G home basically because, he was in a lot of pain. He went deep in the time trial the day after he crashed. He was quite bruised up and had some very serious, not serious, but it could be serious knee issues. So just a precaution, we'll get him into the medical team and get him fixed up for the tour. Of course, he was very disappointed. This was his big goal, his first time he got the whole team behind him, support for GC. But, G is a strong guy. He's very upbeat all the time, and he'll move on to his next little goal.
With a fast downward sloping finish, the day would deliver a bruising finale.
Oh, the shoulder's involved as well. Here goes San Bennett. He's had a big hole punch in the air. Ewan's been hampered here and he's been taken to the barriers. It's opening up dead centre. This is going to be a phenomenal win. What about that? Gaviria gets it up the line for the man in the Tinkerman jersey. Comes to it exactly the right moment. Gaviria delivers.
And with that, the 22-year-old became the first rider since Bernard Hinault in 1978 to win 4 stages in a Grand Tour debut. With the Sprinters' Fun done for the Giro, stage 14 start would honour Italy's Il Campionissimo, Fausto Coppi. And it would finish with a nod to another Italian icon, Marco Pantani. With the climb up to Europa, few were willing to predict who the stage would suit.
Dumoulin going to pick this up. This is about Dumoulin saying, listen, I'm not just a time trialist, I'm a man who can go mountains as well. Dumoulin, goodness me,
and
what's up to control? He does, he goes, and Zachary goes with him. Dumoulin's going for this. There goes Nibali. He's gone backwards. What a day, what a moment. It's Dumoulin, king of this mountain. He's slashed everybody down with it with a blade in his hand, and he might just come through to take the day. Oh, he's going to. Here he goes, picks it up. Dumoulin has done it. King of the mountain, king of the hills, king of the time trial, and I think king in waiting of this Giro d'Italia.
Incredible. That's going to be more than 10 seconds that he's put into Nairo Quintana, who still hasn't crossed the line. 12 seconds back to the Colombian. What a day it has been for Tom Dumoulin and the Dutch and Team Sunweb. Absolutely incredible.
We have always looked at today's stage as also opportunities to win time on the competition. So we know we have to have a plan to defend, but we also are looking with open eyes to opportunities. They went full gas in the beginning of the climb. The guys got really enthusiastic, the other riders, and that was perfect. And Tom came from behind and did it very smart. It's about making sure you keep the overview here and see what they want to do. And I mean, Tom has a margin, so he can also play with that when he has a difficult moment. But on Tuesday, it's a different stage.
After a peak performance for the ages, stage 15 saw the Giro d'Italia tip its hat to another great race. With echoes of the Giro di Lombardia and its finish in Bergamo, there was to be no let-up in the ferocity of the racing. As Nairo Quintana hit the deck, a big decision for the race leader had to be made.
As you can see, Tom Dumoulin being extremely fair, given that was purely a race incident, and saying, let's wait up for Nairo Quintana. He doesn't have to do this.
With Quintana back amongst the contenders, it would be another of the race's jersey wearers to ignite the closing kilometres as Bob Jungels powered to victory.
Creo que Nairo también se lo ha dicho, ¿no? Pero gracias por haber esperado un poco cuando se ha caído. Y luego en la situación de carrera, pues bueno, nos gustaría estar más cerca de él y verle un poco menos fuerte que lo que se le ha visto hasta el día de hoy, ¿no? Pero bueno, la verdad es que queda todavía una parte muy dura de Giro por hacer y la esperanza es lo último que se pierde y creo que por equipo y por el propio Nairo pues todavía podemos pensar en vencer este Giro.
Today is the day, everybody. It is the Queen stage of the Giro d'Italia, and we're ready. So the Passo del Mortirolo, the Cima Scarponi, is taken by his teammates, and the memory of Michele Scarponi, one of the most popular riders in recent history, has been honoured. Sho-air have pulled back André Amador to work for Nairo Quintana. They've seen that Dumoulin is in trouble and they're trying to take the bull by the horns now. Here we go, here we go. Nibali to attack, Quintana to follow. This is one for the history books. We've had all the previous drama, but this is adding to it now. Tom Dumoulin is seeing his pink jersey challenge descend into hell. Nibali sits on the wheel, and here is Nibali on the right-hand side, who's going to sprint for the line. Landa on the left, Nibali coming through the middle, and that's it. Italy have it. Nibali takes it. His defence is alive. The Giro is alive, and Nairo Quintana could well move into the pink jersey. Whatever happens, this has been heroic. Really well done, and the good news story today comes from Tom Dumoulin, who holds pink to huge cheers.
I could have easily been with Nibali and Quintana. I decided to fight and then take conclusions after the finish.
That's all for this week. Join us next time on inCycle, but until then, keep up to date with us across social media.